What's up, Wrestling fans? This is Kenny Cummins here, chilling with Kenny C right here on TMVCafe.com. Joining me at this time, professional wrestler representing the Tragedy Boys. He is the Tiger Prince. He's got
Yeah,
so much coming up in the coming weeks, and so Percy Drews is joining me right now. How's it going, man?
yeah, dude, that was a fantastic intro. I loved every second of that. That was awesome.
Appreciate you, man. How you feeling?
Uh, well, I'm not gonna lie to you. So I actually started my phlebotomy school today. So a little nervous about that.
Hey, it's all good,
Little
man.
little
So
side hustle outside of wrestling. Tell you that right now.
that's cool, man. It's just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen. Education is very, very important. No matter it is what you do in life, keep that
Never,
education.
never too old. You're
Yeah,
never too old. It's
very
always there.
true. All right, man. So I'm joined with the Tiger Prince here. Let's get into it, man. You got a lot going on. You got a lot of things on the horizon per se. Before we get into your up and coming shows, I want to start off with Tragedy Boys, man. You, Gaston, Saturn, and a couple other members in there. Of course,
So many.
I'm familiar with Gaston. I know him for about a year now. I know Saturn for a couple months. Talking about the Tragedy Boys, man. How did that came to be, man? How did you get
Oh,
in with the group?
love I love hearing I love telling people the origin of the Tragedy Boys.
Yeah,
Okay, it's story time, okay?
got it.
I know you said 20, 30 minutes. This might be like 40 minutes, but
I'm good, man. We're good.
the origin of the Tragedy Boys. Do you know independent wrestler Riley Rose? You know him by
Yeah,
chance?
yes, I do.
Yeah. Me and Riley, we grew up together. We went to the same high school, same grades, same classes.
Yeah.
He was my best friend growing up. And growing up, me and him wanted to be a rap group. We wanted to take the career of being rappers. Like we wanted to be like Bad Meets Evil and New Boys at the time. As you can tell, we're really old. But we decided on the rap group name called the Tragedy Boys. It was me and Riley Rose. And then throughout our careers, wrestling was always there. We started training together. We started, I trained somewhere else. He trained somewhere else. But we were always the Tragedy Boys when we were together. It was always me and him. And that became a tag team group. We didn't tag all the time because me and him did a bunch of singles careers. We did a bunch of singles matches together. But when I was training, I met Saturn, and me and Saturn became friends. And then me and Gaston met at a tryout show where he blew up my phone and wanted to wrestle me so badly at this tryout show that I owned respect for him. And me and Riley were like, okay, let's make the Tragedy Boys. Let's make our tag team like the Bullet Club. Let's make it where we get a bunch of our friends into this group, and like we don't ask for much. We were just asking to be like, let's introduce ourselves as Tragedy Boys. And believe it or not, we were doing that for a couple months. Saturn was getting messages from promoters asking, "Do you have a tag team partner?" And we all said, "Well, we could all tag team with you, Saturn. Like we could, anyone could tag team with you." And since we were in the group already, Saturn went out of his way to make T-shirts, logos, gets tag team matches for us, and within the group, us four, I'm going to include Riley Rose, us four were the original Tragedy Boys. That's how it was. And then the more we traveled, we started adding more people within the group. But the core three, because Riley wanted to have a singles career, and I created it. I created the Tragedy Boys, so something I wasn't gonna let die down. So Saturn wanted to make it a trios. He wanted it to be just three people. So it was me, Gaston, and Saturn. And we still kept the friend group of the Tragedy Boys, but kind of quietly people started. We added more people. We kicked out some people, and we're still friends with people we kicked out. But it was just they weren't representing us. They won't, there's a difference of wearing our t-shirt to the ring. Like they weren't advertising us. They weren't doing this for us, but we're still cool with them. But it
Yeah.
was just one of those things of like, we needed to keep the core of it. So the final three, if you say the final three, ended up being me, Gaston, and Saturn. And no matter what, the Tragedy Boys are us three, and then obviously Riley, because me and him created it. But I don't want Saturn or Gaston to be like, oh, the Tragedy Boys, we created it. It was me and Riley's creation since so like 8th grade. The Tragedy Boys was me and Riley Rose, and it transitioned to me, Gaston, and Saturn.
Yo,
So
shout out to you. Yeah.
I will label myself as what is it, like the founding father, we'll say, of like
The
the
founder.
Tragedy
Yeah.
Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the origin of the Tragedy Boys can be written down as a rap group name. we just want me and Riley just wanted to be rappers, but clearly we became wrestlers instead.
I love that
So
story.
that's the origin of the Tragedy Boys. And I'm telling you, Kenny, don't make Gaston or Saturn tell you otherwise.
I'll keep that in mind.
What I gave you right there was the origin.
The origin. That's fair. And, that was you and Wiley from the get go. And it's got the hip hop vibe. Obviously, I like the bad meat evil new boys. Some
Yeah,
Eminem, some Royce the 5'9". So it's got that feel to it. And look, I've been following the Tragedy Boys for the past year or so. And y'all making waves in the independent wrestling scene, individually and collectively. And you know what? I kind of like the feels for it, man. Y'all bring something different. With Gaston in particular, he's got the Mr. 445 thing, elevating and everything. I think it's one of the most,
did
yeah.
did Gaston ever tell you like the origin of the 440? Is it 455 or
No,
445?
445. Yeah, yeah. There was the Black Wrestlers list,
Yeah,
and his name was on it.
did he ever tell you the mess up with that?
I guess he didn't. I kind of have when I saw the list, I was like, wait a minute.
Okay.
There's a Black Gaston rule that I did not know of, because he's the only Gaston I knew. So I Google his name, and that's the same dude. I was like,
so the origin of 445,
yeah.
actually, Gaston took Saturn's spot. He took Saturn's spot. Because whoever made that list didn't recognize Saturn and Gaston. So he meant to put Saturn at 445.
Oh,
but he thought that he was called Gaston.
Wow.
So it was a mix up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the creator of the list literally messaged Gaston and was like, I didn't know who was who.
Ooh.
I didn't know who was who.
Wow.
So that's the 445. Gaston took Saturn's spot. That's why Saturn wasn't on the list.
Well, in all fairness, it wasn't Gaston's fault. It was just a mix-up and everything. And and I can't be mad at Gaston for wanting with it. His name is on there. So
I love Gaston, but no one is mad at him. No one's mad at him for being on the list. No one's mad at him. He's telling people it's a mix up. He did
Yeah.
take Saturn's spot. He did. He didn't mean to, but he took Saturn's spot.
Wow. That's cool. That's wow. Um, I was just like, I'm glad he's gotten some fun out of it. People just joking around with him over it. I've even joked around with him over it. And it was just like, man, it just it kind of snowballed even further. But hey, man, things happen, and you just
It,
win with it sometimes. Uh, so man, I'm joined with the Tiger Prince, Percy Drews, with the Tiger background. You know what I'm saying? So Percy,
I didn't
man,
realize. Oh yeah, you could see my tiger in the
yeah,
back.
yeah, man.
And oh, I'm gonna show you because
Okay,
Saturn hates it. But
what you
we
got?
all
What
have
you got?
trash. We all have Tragedy Boiz flags.
Okay,
I got mine hanging up.
okay.
Saturn like Saturn likes taking his to shows, and he always wants me to bring it. And I'm like, dude, I got it hanging up in my room. Like, I got it up, and I'm not taking it down.
Right next to the Bengals one.
Yeah, hey, Bengals on my team.
Yeah.
Bengals on my team. They've been my team since day one. Even
Yeah.
even before I moved to Ohio, they were always my team.
Oh, you like the Carson Palmer days? You like the
I grew up on the Carson Palmer days.
okay.
I grew up on the 6 and 10s and the 5 and 11s and the barely beating the Browns. Like
Yeah. I think
like
with Carson Palmer, man, like he was good. He just couldn't get them over the hump. But if it wasn't for
it
that injury with the Steelers that he had, the injury, man, I think people would think different of Carson Palmer this day.
well that's the thing. I love the NFL.
Yeah.
One, it's the NFL is slowly starting to like if you pay attention, it's slowly kind of starting to resemble wrestling in some way.
Yeah.
Cause like back in the day, I grew up with people just tackling nonstop and like the hits were brutal. But then all these injuries happen and it has gotten kind of soft. You got corners missing uh literally a clean shot at a receiver, and you got quarterbacks that freaking literally get touched and it's like 3 flags on the play. Like you notice that.
Yeah.
It's like freaking Patrick. I love like Patrick Mahomes is the next Tom Brady. Literally, he gets touched. 4 flags on the play. Offensive holding. Freaking defense was offside somehow. Like
I mean, today's football has really handicapped defenses. Like they can't do anything. They can't hit the quarterback. They can't go high. They can't go low. It's like it's a tough time to be a defensive player. It's like
they don't make
every
they don't make a lot of money. Like, have you ever played
yeah.
franchise? Like when you like
Yeah, I
any
love
Madden?
Madden. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, any when like you play as a GM or like a head coach,
yeah,
and it's like your offense, your quarterback is getting like $160 million,
yeah.
and then your like top star like left end is only getting like 40 mil, and it's like holy crap.
Art
Like
imitates
the
life. Not
that
it's literally deep quarterbacks. They get the most money. You need a quarterback. You need somebody that's gonna keep things afloat. You know.
well, I think it's because when you look at a team, you only remember the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a Steelers fan, but you think of the Steelers, you don't think of Troy Polamalu back in the day. You think Ben Roethlisberger. Before Aaron Rodgers left the Packers, you look at the Packers, you think Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
or you think of the quarterback before him, Brett Favre, and then the quarterback before him. You don't think about the wide receivers, the running backs, or like the corners, the safeties. You don't think about those players. You only think about the quarterback.
Yeah.
That's
Pretty
the only
much.
one that gets praised.
Yeah. It's a quarter football. It's definitely a quarterback-driven league. They basically saying you ain't got a quarterback that can produce points, you ain't gonna do much. You know?
No, because like, okay, I'm showing you how old I am. I grew up with like Colt McCoy, Tim Tebow, RG3, quarterbacks that like I grew up watching in college,
Yeah,
and they will. Oh, I wasn't in college when I was watching them, but they were in college killing it, and like they're like, oh, that they're gonna be the next big NFL star, but then it's like they either get hurt or it's like they keep messing up on plays because they're
yeah,
still rookies. They're gonna mess up, and like the teams just gave up on them. Teams just gave up on
yeah,
him so fast that they left. They left the NFL so quickly because the teams were just not giving them a chance. Like
yeah,
RG3, if he stayed in Washington, like would have been a good star, but he kept getting hurt, and then like they just gave up on him.
yeah. He was rookie of the year in his first season. It
Yeah,
looked
but
like he was on his way, and then the playoff game happened against the Seahawks. He gets
exactly.
hurt.
Yeah,
And
because injuries happen,
yeah,
and then they like just gave up. Because like you get hurt, you have a
yeah,
serious injury, you're not going to play the same. But
yeah,
they didn't build around him. Like my brother was a big Colts fan, and he was upset when Andrew Luck retired
yeah,
soon, like really early. And like me and him always talk about it, how it's because the Colts they weren't building around him. They weren't drafting offensive linemen. They weren't drafting all the things that he needed, and he left. He didn't want to get traded. He wanted to stay on one team, but he called it quits. He couldn't because his franchise gave up on him. They're like, oh, we don't need to draft you a lineman. Why would we? We'll draft a corner instead.
yeah. He was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league during his time. And then it comes to a point like, you know what, I'll just walk away while I'm still got my head intact. You know,
Yeah.
it
Uh-oh.
is what it is. So Percy, man, what I see you got some shows coming up. Tri-State Wrestling is in particular. Oh, that's on the 17th. You're teaming up with Gaston that night. What are some other shows you got coming up?
So I have me and Gaston, if things plan well, me and him are doing the NWA tryout in Cleveland Friday.
Hmm.
And then next week, where am I at? Next week's the third, right?
Uh,
Next next
I think
next week's the third.
yeah, the week after that, I believe.
Most of my bigger bookings are in March. I know me and Gaston are doing Black Label Pro at the end of February. Then my dog. This is my dog Max, by the way. I know he like made a cameo.
Shout out to the pup. Shout out to the
I
pup.
know he's so adorable. But
we got a special appearance in the interview. Gonna call it the mascot of the Tragedy Boiz.
he's the Tragedy Boiz mascot. His name's Max. His name
Max.
me
Okay.
me and Kinsey call him Maxie Dean.
Maxie Dean. And hello
Yeah,
there, Maxie.
he's like,
Uh
what happened? I'll
you'll
put you back.
yeah. All right, man. So Percy, he's gonna be at some shows coming up. Gonna be at Cleveland for NWA. He's gonna be at Tri-State Wrestling February 17th at the
And then
Batesville, Indiana.
Black
And he
Black Label Pro, I think the week after that.
okay.
March, I'm
That will be at
really
Indianapolis. That's in Indianapolis for Square Circle Expo. I'm gonna be
yeah.
there.
I will be at Circle Expo. I will actually like March. I have Wisconsin. I go back to D6. I and then we have I have another show. I have Spot Monkey in Cincinnati on the 15th of March. February is January and February are always my two shortest months wrestling wise, just because of the snow. That's why March is looking like a bigger month for me wrestling wise, because that's when it starts. Like, I don't think I have a free weekend in March at all.
So yeah, he got some shows coming up. Looks like I'm going to meet you for the first time, February 17th, Tri-State Wrestling at Batesville, Indiana. You
That's
teaming
so.
up.
It seems like it's so far away.
Yeah, definitely does. So not only am I going to see you in Batesville, Indiana on the 17th, yeah, I'll see you in late March at Indianapolis for Black Labor
Yes.
Pro. So it was good to chat with you, Percy. Thank you so much for your time, man. Great having a chat with you. Yeah, I'll follow him on Twitter at Percy Drews. He'll keep you
Good.
posted. And go follow the Tragedy Boiz on social media as well. They got some upcoming shows. Percy, Gaston, and Percy. Keep y'all posted on that as well. And
Yeah.
support the Tragedy Boiz, man. One of the dopest wrestling factions in the tri-state area. Check out Percy, Gaston. I'm actually going to see Saturn this Sunday at Grindhouse Pro Wrestling.
Oh,
So,
yeah, I forgot.
yeah, yes.
Side note, I used to travel with Saturn at Grindhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like last year or so.
Mm.
I haven't been there in a hot minute.
Yeah, he's currently one half of the tag team champions with
And
Derek
it's
Dillinger.
not with me and Saturn. It was not with me and Gaston. Look, I got them mixed up. Look at me.
Yeah. This has been
But
so much fun.
yeah, dude, we gotta do this again.
Yeah, man, I'm all for it, man. I'll see you on the 17th next month, and I'll see you at Indianapolis in March. Thank you so much for your time, man. Continue
Anytime, man.
success, and I'll see you next month, brother.
Dude, I'll see you, man.
All right,
I'll
take it easy.
talk to you then.
All right, peace. All right.